Ahoj, vítejte na mém kanále Czech by Zuzka, kde vám pomocí angličtiny vysvětluju českou gramatiku. In this video, I'm going to be focusing on some expressions that you can use in daily conversation. This topic was inspired by my student, Corinne. Ahoj, Corinne. She always tells me there is so much dative in Czech sentences and I don't know how to deal with it. So I started collecting phrases that have these interesting forms, and I want to show you just one little part in this video, and then on Thursday I'll show you more. You might know that in Czech we use certain phrases that are different than in English. For example, when you speak about someone's age, he is 20, and in Czech you say je mu 20 let. I have a video about that as well. These are phrases that are taught in textbooks. But today I want to show you something that is not so common to read in textbooks. However, it's very important if you want to blend in the Czech society. Well, we all know this phrase, right? Jak se máš? How are you? Jak se máš? It's the most common phrase. And sometimes it can be a bit of a cliche. There are other alternatives that you can use. You can also say jak se ti vede, or jak se vede, which is more like how are you doing, how are things going, or jak se ti daří. And again, you can also leave this part and say jak se daří. These are synonymous. They both mean how are you doing, how are things going. Opakujte po mně. Jak se ti vede? Jak se ti daří? Daří. How these sentences are made. First of all, let's look at the verb vede. And then there is also the reflexive part, vede se. So the verb is vést se. Let's look at this part first. Vést means to lead somewhere. Vést se is just a more like impersonal, passive way of expressing it. So you kind of make an impersonal question. How are things going for you? Are things leading somewhere? Literal translation doesn't work here, but if you wanted to know, ti is dative. Literally, we are saying, how is it leading to you? If you want to answer this question, you could say dobře, or you can also repeat the same components, obviously changing this. You would say vede se mi dobře. Vede se mi dobře. The same way here. Jak se ti daří? Dařit means to thrive, to be successful. And we spoke about this as well with my other student, Brian. So I'm also saying hello, because I know he watches my videos. So this verb is dařit se, to thrive, to be successful. And the sentence is constructed in the same fashion. How are things thriving for you, to you? Jak se ti daří? Once again, remember these two handy alternatives for jak se máš. Jak se ti vede? Jak se ti daří? And if you want to be formal with someone, you want to use the vykání, the formal treatment. You would say jak se vám vede, jak se vám daří. That's also dative, obviously. Jak se ti líbí v Plzni? I am sure you also know this phrase. Jak se ti líbí v Plzni? How do you like Plzeň? Because I always give examples with Prague or Brno, I decided to use Plzeň, the hometown of the Plzeň beer. V Plzni, that's the locative case, by the way. And I'm sure many of you know this phrase, and it's constructed in the same manner. This is the dative. Jak se ti líbí, so the verb is líbit se, to like something visually, or to enjoy, but more superficially. And one thing to keep in mind, this is in the third person, because you're not talking about you, you're talking about it. So these phrases are impersonal. We're talking about it, ono, how something was likable, enjoyable to us. Would you be able to construct this sentence in past? Someone was in Plzeň and you want to ask them, how did you like it? How did you like Plzeň? You would simply use this in past tense, but you have to remember it has to be in the third person, singular, but which form? Masculine, feminine, or neuter? Well, because we are speaking about to, ono, we are using the neuter form. Jak se ti líbilo? That's right. Jak se ti líbilo v Praze? V Praze, ne, v Plzni, pardon. Jak se ti líbilo v Plzni? How did you like Plzeň? How was Plzeň? How was it enjoyable for you in Plzeň? Sometimes it's better not to translate. Okay, so now I want to get to the point. When we have a conversation with someone, they tell us, oh, I went to this place, or I did this and this. For instance, a friend says, I went for a run, and you want to ask, how was your run? How do you ask? You could say, jaký byl běh? That's not what we would say. What we would say is, jak se ti běhalo? The same construction. Jak se ti běhalo? And now you won't be scared by these forms. Jak se ti, to you, that's dative. Běhalo. Běhalo se. Again, we're using this passive construct. Běhat se by itself just doesn't exist. But here we are using it together with the dative. Běhat by itself is used in a personal form, like běhala jsem, I ran. Běhalo se is if you want to say that people ran, or you don't speak about specific people, you just mean something in general. But you can also use this impersonal construction to a specific person, but then you use the dative to refer to that person. Jak se ti běhalo? How was your run? How did you enjoy the run? How did it feel when you were running? Something like that. But this is the natural way to ask. You could also be more specific. Let's say a friend says they got new running shoes, exciting thing, so you want to ask, did you have a good run in those shoes? Let's try. Obviously we leave out jak. We are going to ask, běhalo se ti dobře v těch nových botách? Běhalo se ti dobře v těch nových botách? Jak se ti běhalo v těch nových botách? You can also add this here. V těch nových botách means in those new shoes. And you can see clearly, there's dative. Not surprised anymore. And also the verb běhalo se. Did the running feel good to you in those new shoes? You can listen to my horrible little translation. You can also just look at this. The pattern is clear. I hope you enjoyed this video and learning something which is practical and you can use in real life. You don't have to be worried that it will sound strange. And in case you're wondering where you get material for studying the real life Czech, I have a very special offer. My video course, When Czech Stories Are Never Better, shows you 15 stories that are full of practical language. And I show you how to translate these stories. I also read them out loud to you and I point every grammatical aspect and the slang versions. And the great thing is that today, Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday until midnight, you can get this course for free, entirely for free, if you purchase also my ebook, Just in Case, which is focused on Czech grammatical cases. For instance, it will help you understand how to use the dative, how to form it, not only the pronouns, but all the other parts of speech. And I wrote this comprehensive ebook in a way that you feel that I'm having a lesson with you, sitting right next to you and explaining everything you should know and giving you tips on how not to get overwhelmed. So if you think that you need to practice the cases in context and also learn practical Czech, don't miss out on this offer. It would be a shame, to by byla škoda. Uvidíme se ve čtvrtek. Ahoj.